Hello and welcome to Body Bags. My name is James and I'm your Sunday night reviewer, and this evening I'll be reviewing the 2015 film Baskin. Now this is a Turkish horror film, and it's by the director Can Evrenol. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Um, this is actually his first feature-length film. He actually the short film Basking, which obviously was fairly successful short film, and he was able to adapt it into this feature-length film. Now, not that this has a rather large budget, um, but you cannot tell. Um, it's kind of that there's no established large kind of actors in this. I believe there's quite a few first-time actors in this, uh, but everyone's solid, and the visual aesthetic of this, it's so crisp and clean, and everything looks great. There's no, you can't tell that this is low budget. Well, basically, we start. It's following a group of policemen, Turkish policemen, and they're actually they're on a night. They're all working, and they're in this cafe, and they're chatting and everything, telling stories, telling kind of yeah. They're not the most moral of policemen, so some of the stories are quite interesting. But they get a call where they need to go to this certain district in Turkey. I apologise, can't remember the name of it, but it's not the best area. It's got a pretty bad reputation apparently. So that's where they're going to go. But actually, before we get there, one of the policemen is actually like the driver of the vehicle that they have there, like this minibus. He's not feeling so good, so he actually goes to the bathroom, and then you see him in there, um, is playing around with the aesthetics. It's looking very nice in there. You see this frog. He's throwing up in there, and he sees this frog, and then you see this kind of quite eerie figure in the background in the mirror, and then he's just looking in the mirror, and then he sees this thing, and then it pans to the rest of the team, and he's screaming and freaking out, and they go and see what's going on. But he says he's okay. He's kind of tranced out for a moment. Um, I don't think this has anything to do with the food, because also there's this rather strange hooded figure that brings the food to the cafe. It's a bucket of this raw meat or raw flesh. You're not sure what it is. Well, meat is flesh, but you're not sure where the meats come from. And this rather sinister character drops the meat off, and I think this is the same character that actually you see in the mirror, and this policeman sees. But anyway, we kind of roll along. The police are going towards um, this bad area, this bad estate, and they actually hit someone in the bus, and the bus veers off the road and goes into a river. And yeah, they all come out. They're all okay. And this film jumps around. It's not particularly linear film, because it also jumps to another scene. It's kind of well, our main character's Arda in this group, and there's a scene where we kind of go to him, and he's discussing with his the captain or the head sergeant or whatever, and they're talking about things, and this this is a difficult film to talk about, because I think the plot is fairly simple, but it's very ambiguous, and like how you follow this, and the story is very kind of your interpretation of it. I feel it's I quite like how the director did that. It's very open, yeah, how you track things. But our character Varda, you see the very start of the film is having a dream, and it's like turns out to be a nightmare. Like he can see he's a young boy. He can hear his mum making noises, maybe noises of sex or distress. You're not sure, but he sees this hand coming out from a different door, and he's trying to get into his mum. And he wakes up, but he's discussing this anyway with the sergeant or the captain or something, and then the captain's also starts saying about things kind of, I can't remember how it goes now, but about looking at things, like looking at the situation, is like looking in the room, really look at us now in this room, who is in here with us. And he starts to see Ada, he starts to see this figure, and he's kind of, blood starts to appear from different things coming out from his hands from the table, and he falls back into water. So the visual aesthetics of this, like I said, it looks fantastic. There's no issue with budget or anything. It looks so nice, this, and how it kind of glides through. But anyway, so then we kind of jump around and we go back. So they're at this place where they should be. Like I said, they've had the crash, but they're all okay. So they find where the other, because there's another set of police people there already. They've already been called to the scene. It's this kind of derelict building, and they're running around trying to find them. It's trying to find these policemen. We're not running around. They go in and they find one, and he's kind of is stood against the wall. He's just headbutting the wall, and it's like, this is freaky, weird. What's going on? They can't figure it out. And so they all split up and start to look around and start seeing these weird things. Like they're like looking around and see things and hear things, and then there's these people tied up, and it's like all bodies wrapped in plastic and things like that. It's really strange. That's actually they're kind of going down. It's like this spiral. It's like, so there's this derelict building. It's this spiral, and it's like going into the depths of hell almost. That's what kind of how it feels. And then you see the minions of hell almost. So it's like these dead people strung up, wrapped in plastic, and then some are still alive, strung up, and you've got these weird women like cutting them to pieces. And there's just lots of bodies everywhere, and it's kind of weird. And like I said, the people splitting up, and they eventually all get basically captured, and they're kind of, that some pass out, one gets hit on the head with a sledgehammer. Anyway, they come to this like chamber at the bottom of the depths of hell, maybe, and they have all these weird people, these disciples of hell, and then this cloaked figure comes, and it's a very unusual looking person. He's got some sort of physical deformity in real life. It's kind of I'm not sure what the deformity is, but it's very distinctive look. But it's how he looks and how he sounds and how he talks. It's kind of very, it all ties together, and it's very creepy. All the spoken word is Turkish, by the way. It's subtitled film. Anyway, it's I don't want to go too much into details of what happens there, but yeah, like I said, it's a very tricky one to kind of talk about. It's and to decipher. It's very has a very kind of biblical, very this is a really strange one. Yeah, it's really tough. Like how to describe. Like it's quite a simple concept, but it's so open how you read into these different things, like in faith and religion and what's going on downstairs, and you've seen the frogs and different things, and how different characters are acting and different kind of people they meet, and how they converse in conversation, what's being said by this strange guy near towards the end, and then what he does to these different people. Yeah, like I said, it's ambiguous. It's the kind of the story and how it unfolds. It's very similar, but at the same time quite different to The Void. Like the void is very, because it's kind of, yeah, it's like this sect, kind of almost this religious sect, which is obviously what happens in both of these, and it's like the pits and the depths of hell. But like I said, it's similar, but it's quite different. Like this feels very like it has a lot of religious undertones and how everything's flowing together, and it's kind of like this loop, and it's how everything ties together, and it's like Arda, our main character. Is he? Are we just following him? Is it just having these dreams, or is he like? Oh, there's different things. It's like, is he coming from hell? Is it like the son of Satan or something like that? And like how he comes and pulls himself through the end. But yeah, it's a strange one. It's just one I've only seen once now, but really, really enjoyed it, and I do want to give this another watch. This is kind of quite a confusing review, but like the visuality of this, the quality of the acting and the quality of the characters with this film, it's so engrossing. It just grabs you and catches you and pulls you in. And I'm sure a lot of people, how they are now with films, every so often picks their phone up or has a quick look at different things. Our attention levels over the past 10 years, I think, have degraded to a huge amount because of things like smartphones. But I did not touch anything, and I was fully focused for like the hour and a half or so of what this film is. Yeah, just over an hour and a half, and it just grabbed me. It's intense. It's intense that even when anything wasn't happening, it's just the conversations that they're having, and the fact that you felt you were there. Well, they were leading you and they were feeding you information, and how the story progressed and rolled and to where its climax came. It's an engrossing film. Highly, highly recommend this, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And let's see what happens on the second watch. I can only assume that it's going to get higher when I understand and recognise and see more things. So that is my kind of ambiguous review. A little bit difficult to talk about, like I said, but I hope you do check it out. This is a Severin release for this one, and they did a fantastic job. Yeah, so that's my Sunday night review, and I'll see you next week where we are covering the Spatter film. That's the theme of the week, so hope you enjoy next week's reviews. Okay, good night.